afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Thursday, November 5th, 2015. This is Texan TV News from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas. And I am Christine Humphreys. In today's headlines, Texan TV News interviewed Dr. Kyle McGregor, Pizza Hut of Stephenville reopened, presidential candidates are gearing up in New Hampshire, an Australian hunter survived in the outback by eating ants, and a Cowboys player returns to the field. In campus news, we are continuing to interview various students and faculty about campus safety. We spoke to Tarleton's Vice President for Advancement and External Relations, Dr. Kyle McGregor, about the issue. He discussed his own personal experience with the mock school shootings he participated in and his own views on guns.
In regards to the new conceal and carry law that is currently being worked out amongst committees, do you feel that that will make Tarleton a safer campus or less safe?
I think it's an interesting topic that it's going to bring up a very heated dialogue here on campus. Previously, I worked for a junior college in Virginia, and one of the things that was interesting about that, we were we were actually a campus that after the Virginia after the shootings that happened in Virginia, we were actually used as a test subjects for emergency responders. So they staged the shootings and did a reenactment of the shootings on our campus, and then they brought in the emergency responders. So we were actually, during the summer when when school was not in session, it was a really terrifying experience to be a part of that, because there were actually staged shootings and bodies and blood, and then SWAT teams came in. So to be a part of that, and we had to, at first you kind of giggled, but then to actually be immersed in that situation, it was terrifying. So it kind of made me step back and realize that that could happen at any moment. It makes you think, what would be the response on a campus anywhere if there were concealed handguns, and what would that help the situation or would that hurt the situation? There are pros and cons on both sides. I think it's going to open up a really interesting dialogue. I was raised, I'm raised here in Texas. I got my first gun when I was 7. I'm an avid hunter. What my grandfather, when he gave me my first gun, which I still have, what he taught me was every time you pull a gun out, you have to accept the fact that something is going to die. So you never pull a gun out for any other reason than to realize and to accept the fact that something is going to die. And that means either something you're going to shoot or yourself. So you have to accept that fact. So I think we just need to acknowledge the fact that guns are not toys. Guns are not something just to be carried around for fun or for show off or for bragging rights. Guns are a tool to kill something. So a concealed handgun license, I think, is a valid tool for many people. I have one. But I think we need to acknowledge the fact that a gun is used for one thing, and that's to kill something.
In regional news, Pizza Hut is now back into full swing after a car crashed into the establishment on October the 28th. According to the Empire-Tribune, Emily Bowling crashed into the building just before opening time, injuring one employee. Emily Bowling was later arrested on Tuesday evening for the incident. Stephenville Assistant Police Chief Jason Halsey said that the case is still under investigation and they are working on the report. Halsey also said that the case is not over and is not closed, and they are making sure everything is in order before presenting the case to the district. And now, today's Texas national and international news from the Associated Press. In state news, an LGBT-centered change in public restroom policy was defeated in Houston. The mayor is rallying supporters for this non-discrimination policy, saying that the fight isn't over. Here's the short video from the Associated Press with more information.
Houston's Proposition 1 bathroom ordinance.
The attacks on a Houston non-discrimination law were relentless and effective,
Simply by claiming to be a woman that day.
helping turn out voters in an off-year election to defeat Proposition 1.
It took a number of people and a number of pastors from black churches, white churches, brown churches, everyone to stand up and say, Mayor, not in our city.
This was a campaign of fear-mongering and deliberate lies.
The Houston Equal Rights Ordinance, otherwise known as HERO, was championed by the city's openly gay mayor, Anise Parker. Passed by the city council, HERO increased protections for gay and transgendered people, as well as anti-discrimination provisions based on sex, race, age, and religion.
But here in Houston, veterans can be discriminated against just because they served in the military.
But a lawsuit put the measure on the ballot, where Prop 1 opponents won more than 60% of the vote. The No campaign targeted conservatives and black churchgoers.
These are the voters who were most susceptible. They didn't hear this message. All they heard was their opposition message and messages from some of the African-American religious leaders who also opposed the ordinance.
Eventually, it came down to an interpretation about access to bathrooms. Opponents claimed allowing transgender men and women would let sexual predators to use women's restrooms, something Prop 1 supporters called fear-mongering.
It's very easy when all you sell is fear. People are afraid and they don't get to stop and think about logically, what are we really talking about?
But in the end, the message that got across to voters rested in the bathroom. Houston's mayor and HERO supporters say their fight isn't over. John Mote, Associated Press, Houston.
In national news, leading Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and lagging Democratic candidate Martin O'Malley became the first mayor candidates to file for a primary in New Hampshire. Here's a story from the AP.
Wow. That's some turnout, huh? Yeah. This is a little different than most of them, huh? This is a little different. Well, this may be a very, very important signature, or maybe not so important. We'll have to see what happens. But I think it's going to be important, right, Steve? It is. It's a cashier's check. I don't think they would have taken mine. They wanted a cashier's check. So this is from a bank that's not actually as rich as we are, right? Here's our check.
Take a look at
Good to see you.
the person who wrote the legislation. You're familiar with legislation, signing bills,
Right?
and this ballot box.
The great thing about New Hampshire is that at a time when it seems like big money's taken over our politics here, every individual matters. And that's what makes your primary so exciting.
That's what these boxes were all about.
Ready?
Yeah. Because
Good. Did you put a date?
So this race has really only just begun. Most voters here in New Hampshire and in Iowa are only now kind of into that decision window. Everything prior to this was preseason. But now, with this first debate, we are truly into the competitive aspect of this primary. And our party is the party that gravitates to the future. It is out of our party that new leaders emerge, and I think that's going to happen this year as well.
In Australia, according to the AP, a 62-year-old hunter survived for 6 days in the outback by eating ants. Reg Fogarty from Western Australia became lost while hunting a camel. He was found 15 kilometers from where he went missing and was transported to a nearby hospital. He spoke to Australian television after the ordeal.
I didn't think anyone was going to find me, and I'd given up. They had a big hole there, and I got a stick and I gave it to, and all these ants come up, and I ate quite a lot that day. The first day I ate probably 12 ants, and the following day I ate 18. It doesn't worry me to one way or the other. They want to call me an ant man, I don't care. I followed this camel into the bush. I'd gone at least 30 Ks. I didn't know where I was. I didn't have a knife and I didn't have matches for a fire, so I couldn't go over and cut a steak off the animal because I had no way to cook it and I had no way to cut it. I was at peace with myself and just to lay there and pass away.
Were you thinking of your family?
Oh yeah. I think it was my family, and you know they would see me laying there. No, I wouldn't say I was tough. I'd say that I'm lucky. I might go back and look for my gun. It's still in the shrub because I'd come closer to death. That now I think that I've got a new life.
In sports news, according to the Empire-Tribune, Joseph Randall, the running back of the Dallas Cowboys, was waived back into the team on Tuesday. Randall showed up to practice last Wednesday after leaving the facility. He had left after a brief appearance Thursday morning. Coach Garrett of the Cowboys refused to discuss Randall's absence. According to weather.com, expect the weekend to be partly cloudy with a slight chance of rain on Saturday. The lows will be around 40 degrees and the highs around 65 degrees. Today's broadcast was produced by Philip Mullen and Rachel Tuggle. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I am Christine Humphreys. Tune in daily for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.